We're entering day 10 of lockdown now, and everything's moving so quickly as far as more restrictions that they want to put into place for an extended period. Total ban of what they'd called non-vital work, which is just going to absolutely cause carnage amongst the millions and millions of hand-to-mouth cash workers living in Spain. Not just in Spain, actually, this applies to most of southern Europe, especially the southern regions of Europe, where the agricultural centres are. They're saying, oh yes, well, we'll allow vital work. However, don't forget, a lot of these people aren't registered. They're not allowed to congregate on the streets waiting to be picked up for work. So the bars and cafes are shut, which is where they'd congregate. I did make a video on this, I think, a couple of weeks ago, and the effects of this are starting to be seen now. Will Spain bring in a universal income similar to what everybody else is proposing? Of course, eventually they will, but that isn't going to help the millions, and I think it's about 4 to 5 million people living on the breadline. And when I say the breadline, if I give you an idea that the average income in Andalusia for a full-time worker is only 12 to 15,000 euros. That's a professional worker, and I'm not joking. Gives you an idea how people on 5 to 6,000 euros a year, and there are people with families here on 5 to 6,000 euros a year in this region. The black economy, the black market economy for things is huge, and this is another area obviously that's going to be hit, and often it's not even a criminal black market area. It can be for food, it can be for sanitation, it can be for many things. It's a different culture and lifestyle in southern Europe than it is in northern Europe. It's not the fluffy, sterile, bow down, people aren't scared here of being human beings, of trading with each other, of helping each other out. There's a much wider sense of community amongst them, which I really respect, actually. They don't have so much respect for foreigners because they're very tight-knit, and that's something perhaps we could learn from. They're not rude at all, that's not what I'm saying. I just, they put themselves first, clearly. And again, I have respect for that. And their family units are strong. But they're going to be suffering through this hugely, really. I mean, I've never experienced such a quiet period as we're having now. Even we hear people sort of laughing occasionally in the distance. The wind carries people's voices from neighbouring areas, and we haven't heard anything for a couple of days. So people are feeling anxious, as I imagine a lot of other people are. But Southern Europe is really going to suffer through this, and I feel for the people. And I think there won't be announcements of the people that are suffering, obviously, because it would be negative press for the governments to have to admit, not just the government of Spain, obviously, exactly how many migrants are here, exactly how many zero-hour contractors there are, exactly how many cash workers there are that aren't registered, and the jobs these people do for all of us across Europe. Because, again, where do you think our food comes from? Genuinely. I mean, would it surprise you to hear that Belgium produces more frozen vegetables for Europe than China? That's a statistic that you think Belgium's a tiny country. Motorways, lace, mayonnaise, chips, and chocolate. To me, that's Belgium. No, they produce more frozen vegetables than any other country on earth, I think, bar China. But they produce more for Europe. Do you really think there are factories in Belgium and the neighbouring areas that aren't using illegal workers and paying them cash? Agencies, you know how work agencies have been operating over the past few decades. They're unscrupulous bastards. They really are. They've got no morals at all, and they're exploiters of humans. So the exploitation will stop, which is great, but it's also going to deprive people of their ability to go and buy food. And food is very cheap here. You can go to a supermarket and you can buy a decent week's worth of food for one person for between 15 and 20 euros. and that's not an exaggeration. That's 3 meals a day, and you'd probably get a case of beer with that as well. Bread, milk, stuff like that's very cheap. The local produce, vegetables and things, still very good value. Even the meat and pork, very good value here. But of course, if you haven't got the money, you can't buy it. So it's going to be really interesting for me to watch how the government's Red Cross and people here react to this underclass of society that they've created. Don't forget, like in England, you dismiss it. We dismiss it. We know these people are here. We've watched them coming in, yet we've kind of dismissed them. Well, they're about to show themselves in ways that we possibly can't imagine. And that's all I have to say on this for now. Cheers.